Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Chris Making Mistakes in Bike Races. Well, I say that kind of jokingly, but also that's kind of why this channel exists. Today we're at the Berkeley Street Criterium. The Berkeley Hills road race had taken place the day before as part of an omnium. I'm racing in the Cat 4 open field today. We've got a pretty stacked field of 40 riders. It's also collegiate, like championships or something, so some fast college kids out. And we're underway. I lined up dead last in this race for some interesting reasons. The start line official forced us to take a lap, and that was an interesting occurrence. And I did not want to take a lap, and then he basically threatened to throw me out of the race if I didn't take a lap. And at that point, most people were finishing their lap. So I went around and I noodled around and took a lap, even though I had previously already ridden the course. And ended up in 40th out of 40th on the start and was pretty peeved about it. So I was seeing red here. I was not happy and a little annoyed because all 5 of our team had lined up on the very front and had taken the due diligence of preparing to be first and come out of the gate and kind of try to lead this thing out and control the race from the beginning. That was completely thrown away. All of the previous time that we'd spent riding the course and doing due diligence was gone. Either way, first lap underway, and now I have a difficult task. I have to get to the front of the race pretty quickly. I know this field is going to blow apart. This race course is very fast. It has some technical aspects, and the laps are so short that you get pulled pretty quickly if you fall out the back, right? I've got we've cut forward already. Boom. All right, we're 5 minutes into the race, and speaking of gaps and me knowing the field's going to be blowing apart, look at that. We're already there. We're 5 minutes into the race, and here we are. There's a group of like 6, maybe 5 or 6 up ahead there, and there's a pretty sizable gap from my kind of secondary group to them, and it felt like we were in danger of getting dropped. Thankfully, this Team California rider does a big pull up here. I mean, I'm doing 450 watts in their draft up this hill. The hill is a feature that happens every lap. You kind of end up climbing this hill, go around this kind of crappy roundabout where there's only one really good line, little dogleg chicane, and then down to this kind of screaming right-hander that I found to be super fun. I love that right-hander, and the course itself does suit my fitness and kind of my style of riding that I excel at. Coming today, I had high hopes. I wanted to get on the podium. I wanted to get upgrade points, and I was able to take that right-hand corner and kind of sweep around a lot and kind of close up a lot of gaps. So that was super fun. I enjoyed that. We're 7 minutes into the racing now, and team tactics are starting to play out. There are a couple of key players here. The Cal Poly team, the collegiate team, Team California, and Super Sprinkles. And what you just saw right there was the Cal Poly rider. They had someone up ahead, and he just let the wheel go and let the gap open up. So my teammate Ian is in front of me, and we had to close it down, basically. Also, we're like 8 minutes into this race, and this was me hitting the front finally. So I had spent like 7 or so minutes working my way through the pack and picking off spots one by one until I found myself near the front. So the players are starting to assemble, the team tactics are starting to play out. We see that there are teams making smart decisions when it comes to how they race, letting gaps open for their teammates, giving them opportunities to get into breaks or kind of get some distance or get some daylight between the front of the pack and the back of the pack. The field is super shredded already. At 7 minutes, it's pretty strung out. People have been dropped, and we're rocking and rolling here. I'm thankful to be sitting on my teammate Ian's wheel. He's a super strong rider and one of our newer team members, and he's really awesome to race with, and he has good consistent power. So sitting on his wheel, I felt pretty good about our situation, being that we had 2 guys in the top like 5 or 6 of the race. And Daniel of Super Sprinkles just peeked into my camera there. He's on the orange bike. He's always a threat in this race, or in the races that I do, and he's a threat in this race as well as another companion of his, RJ, who's super strong and has been racing really well. So the key players are all set up. We know the teams that are going to be probably here at the end, and we know the players that are stronger because they're sitting up here at the front, they're making moves, and they're kind of looking out for opportunities that if a break does form and get away, they can jump across and make it happen. I mentioned that I liked this sweeping right-hander that comes down to the corner a lot, and the reason is I just feel so comfortable railing it without any brakes, or kind of trying not to drag any brakes. And there were multiple laps in a row where if you're able to carry your speed, you can like basically close a gap to the field. So if you found yourself off of a wheel or a little bit kind of sitting out in no man's land, let's say, if you can come into that corner, take a wide line, carry your momentum, and get back on the gas in a smooth way, you can make up 5 bike lengths very easily there, at least in my class in Cat 4. Not everyone is pinning it and able to take that corner super fast. So it's kind of like a bike handling thing that, because I have some bike handling skills, I may not have the biggest motor, but I have the bike handling skills, I'm able to kind of weasel my way kind of up and save energy. See here, there's some bumping going on. It's kind of funny. Daniel kind of asserting his position there with one of the other riders, and then we head down here, and it's kind of interesting because we're 20 minutes into the race and things start getting a little cagey. You'll see Team California kid up here just ahead of my teammate actually nudge out Daniel next. See him starting to shoulder his way to stay on that wheel. Kind of funny. I don't feel like we should be elbowing each other too much. Most people in our group are not. Not everyone has the bike handling skills or like the situational awareness to be doing that. Some do, some don't. Maybe too many Legion videos. I don't know. Anyway, it was kind of interesting to see things getting cagey halfway through the race, though, because it didn't feel like it was super consequential what wheel you're on just yet. But speaking of wheels and consequential, like being where you need to be, I found myself being very particular about placing my bike in the right position to close off lines and not let people scoot through and kind of fill gaps in this race. So one of my big learnings and takeaway was positioning my bike on the course in the right spot to not allow people to slip through, right? So I have a more assertive position on the road. It's not that I'm pedaling harder, but where I'm sitting on the road is more assertive or less opportunistic for someone to come through. And that was a big learning for me from this race, and I hope to kind of carry that forward and be mindful moving forward about where my bike sits on the race course relative to others. So like if they do want to pass me, they have to go around the outside and take the long way, as opposed to like slipping underneath and taking a faster line. We've jumped forward, and my teammate Michael King has come to the front. He's on that red Specialized, and I was really hoping he would kind of just like sit in, chill here, because we had Ian, myself, and him. I thought, oh man, this is a great opportunity. We can get 3 of us. We'll have a lot of firepower. He didn't hear me telling him to like chill, like take it easy, and he nukes it. I see this as an opportunity for a break to form because of the riders in front of me. I use a little bit of power to go into that turn, this little roundabout first, ahead of the other group, and then I soft pedal, let off the gas, and take up the race line, right? So now I'm doing very little watts, I'm resting, and I'm letting all this daylight kind of come out between the group of 4 ahead of me who has good representation and my hope was that maybe they could get away. In the end, my efforts were, they were good in that some people had to burn matches to like close the gap, and I'm able to ride the wheels while these guys close gaps, but they were brought back. So that was that, but we're playing the team card and we're playing the team game. Now we're 28 minutes into the crit. We're pretty deep. The attrition is bad at this point. The main group kind of has created itself, right? There's 15 or so guys that are sitting at the very front of this thing, and they're probably going to be there till the end, until things maybe get really hard at the last couple laps. And I find myself off the front, and I look back, and there's a Team California kid, and I ask him if he wants to work and maybe like start rolling turns. He has one rider back there. I have another rider back there. We could force Cal Poly and Sprinkles to bring us back while having teammates either resting or actively working against them. And I know these, the Team California team, I don't know them well, but I know that when they're in a race, they are strong and they are competent racers. They're very good. So I was really hoping to work with this youngster, junior, I believe, and kind of make my way around the course with him and potentially like go clear. I asked him if he wanted to work, no response, and then I sat on the front and pulled a lap. I thought, okay, maybe he'll pull through, and hopefully he'll pull through and take the next lap. But he never came through, and heading up this hill, you'll see what happens. But I don't commit to like eating the wind anymore at this point. The race has already been hard enough for me, starting dead last, closing down gaps, and you'll see a pretty big attack comes on the left-hand side here from another rider, and then the Team California rider shoots off of that. And at this point, I've burnt through a fair amount of my matches, and I'm feeling fatigued. I don't feel like chasing this, and I'm not going to chase it from the front, at least not hard. So I just decided I'm just going to kind of ride my bike, and if someone wants to come around me, great, but I'm not going to commit a big effort or surge up to like 600 watts or 800 watts to close down the gap. I'm just going to ride my bike smooth, tempo, high tempo pace, and see if maybe I can close the gap down on this corner and see what happens. And that's kind of ultimately what occurs. I just kind of slowly reel them back in, and that's that. And that's how a lot of these attacks went. Like even when I was off the front, I imagine this is kind of the same thing that played out. All right, now we're 34 minutes into the race. I've lost a couple of teammates out the back. Super Sprinkles has come forward. You can see Daniel and RJ, and there's a big attack that just was thrown. And I see this as like maybe the break of the day. Like it's late, it's really late. People are fatigued, and I'm hoping that maybe if I could just get myself into this thing, it would be good, and it would hopefully get me on the podium. In hindsight, I feel like I might have just dragged the field back to them. I don't know that I needed to be doing the chasing here. There were a couple of teams behind me. I kind of wish I had a rear camera to see if they were just sitting on my wheel grinning and smiling as I like worked hard to bring these guys back. But the result was a Team California rider and an unaffiliated rider, Jan, were really starting to cook it and try to get daylight here. And I basically was just kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to miss this move, but at the same time, I don't really have the firepower to like blast 800 or 1,000 watts and just jump across. So I just do a slow squeeze here and slowly start to bring them back in. I do think this could be a mistake. I should have let someone pull through. I should have let another team. I should have looked back and just been like, you guys going to do some work here? But I have a feeling that they were just sitting back going, oh yeah, we'll let Chris bring this back for us. That sounds great. That's what I would be doing if I was on my own wheel. And then here's the snafu with my own criticism is that Team California kid was sitting on my wheel the whole time. So he gets to the front when I'm like, I just don't want to pull this back anymore, and soft pedals, right? So now, even though I've kind of like started to reel it back in and it's kind of in touch, he soft pedals and it opens back up immediately, right? So this is when other teams need to come through and kind of like do some work. Otherwise, this is gonna go away. But we're in the final laps of this race at this point, and it's getting hard, right? Like the pace does pick up in the final 2 or 3 laps of these races. There are people who do have gas left in the tank. Some of us do. I don't have a lot of gas left in the tank at this point. Oh, you can see one of the Team California riders just completely popped out the back there. And yeah, we're kind of in the closing moments of this race, and it's been grueling for me. My heart rate has been pegged at like 172 for the duration, which you can only do that so long. And for me, I came into this race feeling quite good. It's going to be my last race for a while, as I am having my first kid. And at this point, kid is here. One of the reasons this video is taking forever to come out, I get like an hour or less a day to like do something for myself, and you know, doing these videos are fun. So anyway, we're coming into bell lap here. I've been pulling on the front, things come around, and I fully blow up, just like catastrophic system shutdown on the bell lap. I mismeasured my my match book and I ran out. I burned the matches, I burned the book, and on the bell lap, when you really do need to have probably 2 or 3 left to burn, because things are going to get really fast on the straightaway and they're going to get really fast on the uphill heading into the finish line, I had nothing left. So it was a little disappointing to be kind of in the mix the whole time and just barely not have the gas to close it out and bring it home, as this course and even the end sprint really does suit me. But you do what you can, you live and you learn. I felt really good about this race from a learning perspective, and I'll go after it on the next one. I'm not sure when my next race will be, but there it is. Measure your matchbook. Be careful about your efforts, and try to make it to bell lap with some energy to go for it and put yourself in a position to win. I didn't have it today, but you know, it's a learning. We'll do it again. We'll get after it next time. See ya.